Hey guys, welcome back to a brand new Ninjago video here on the channel. My name is TannerFishies. In today's video, we are back again with another installment in my Ninjago Hot Take series. First things first, let me apologize for the massive delay that this video received. We've been getting a bunch of Ninjago news as of late, so this video kept on getting pushed back on the schedule more and more, but now today it is finally time to talk about the newest installment in my Hot Take series. As usual, I put up a community tab post asking you guys to submit some spicy or controversial Ninjago opinions, and we got a lot of responses, and I went through every single one to find my favorites to discuss for today's video. But of course, going along with that, I will be featuring usernames in today's video, and please do not feel the need to harass anyone whose name is featured in today's video. These are just Ninjago opinions. They are not worth getting that upset about. So without further ado, let's start looking at some of your Ninjago hot takes. Let's begin. Crystallized is the worst thing Ninjago has ever put out. Lloyd and Nia are horribly massacred. It's unoriginal in almost every sense of the word. Garmadon was completely different from the Oni trilogy, and there were no consequences in any way, shape, or form. I thought this one would be a pretty mellow one to start things out with. First of all, Crystallized being the worst thing that Ninjago has ever put out. I personally don't agree with that. I wouldn't even rank Crystallized among the worst Ninjago seasons. I just don't think it's that bad compared to several other Ninjago installments out there, and there's certainly a lot to love about Ninjago Crystallized, at least in my own humble opinion. Like I said, pretty basic one to start off with. And on a different side of the same coin, we have Crystallized was great. Just goes to show that people are still split about Ninjago Crystallized. Hot take, Ninjago really should have ended with Crystallized, and United should be its own separate thing from Ninjago. For years, Ninjago has basically been smothering other LEGO themes, hogging all the spotlight, drowning the chances of other themes succeeding. Doesn't help that a lot of people threw a hissy fit when it ended the first time around. And when Shima came out, and fans clowned on Nexonites when that came out, Ninjago has had its time. It doesn't help that they've explored almost every type of set, theme, and gimmick a LEGO line can offer. There's nothing new United can do that hasn't already been done under the confines of Ninjago's aesthetic and story. I really thought this take was an interesting one. I'm really happy with this one. I really liked this one quite a bit. Unfortunately, I don't really agree too much with this one. I mean, sure, Ninjago has been hogging a lot of spotlight, I guess you could say, but when you take a look at how Ninjago has been performing alongside other LEGO themes like Star Wars and City, Ninjago is not one of the most successful themes anymore. Once upon a time, Ninjago was, and while Ninjago still is reasonably successful, it's not as successful as other LEGO themes that are also doing similar gimmicks. Nexonites and Shima, their times were over as well, and sure, Ninjago's hype might have killed those themes, but Ninjago's hype today isn't as strong as it once was. I'm also not really sure if I agree with the take that United can't do anything new. I do think it'll be very familiar to Ninjago fans, but it'll also be something entirely different. We're just gonna have to wait and see. I just thought this take was interesting. This is what I think of when I think of a Ninjago hot take. Thank you very much for sharing. Hot take, everything after season 3 was mid except for the jokes. I liked this one because I'm not a huge fan of Ninjago humor, especially the Ninjago humor that's around nowadays, and I don't really think that the jokes are good in Ninjago, I'm gonna be honest. But then again, I am not Ninjago's target demographic, so who's to say? Also, of course, everything after season 3 being mid. I think the word mid is thrown around way too much these days, so there's my take on that. Might be a hot take myself, but that's just my opinion. The final 2 episodes of season 8 were not needed. It felt like a brand new season introduction. Dread on Arrival was the perfect finale for Sons of Garmadon. I thought this was really interesting because I'm imagining a scenario where season 8 ended with Garmadon's revival being teased. I mean, sure, the ninja went ahead and foiled Harumi's plans, or so they thought, but we know that Garmadon did make his way through, and that would have been a very interesting spot to end the season for sure. I can see where this comment is coming from because episodes 9 and 10 could very well have been the start of Ninjago Hunted, with the ninja eventually traveling to the First Realm during episode 3, for example, and staying there throughout the remainder of the season. And I think this could have worked. Maybe Sons of Garmadon could have been 8 episodes, Hunted could have been 12, but then again, the way that the seasons are structured, they're only separate in name and title only. They very much feel like one solid storyline. I thought this comment was really interesting. I've never really seen anyone say this before, so yeah, just gives you something to think about, I suppose. Hot take, the ninja would actually be more relatable if they were given ages. I disagree with this for a couple of reasons. I feel like the word relatable and relatability, those words have basically been tarnished in modern media. It seems like a lot of audience members nowadays feel like they need to relate to every single aspect of a character in order to find them relatable. Well, in reality, that's not really how it is, and that's definitely not how I see it. I feel like it would be easier for some people to relate to the ninja if they were given actual ages. Like, for example, if you're 18 watching the show and Kai just so happens to be 18, then congratulations, you are the same age as Kai. That is very much relatable. However, there are indeed multiple aspects to a character character, and even if you relate to one aspect of Kai's character, whether that be his personality or his hot-headedness, I think they're plenty relatable already. I don't think they need solid ages, especially not for that reason, but I can understand where this comment is coming from. I thought this one was pretty funny, figured I'd share this one. I don't know if it's a hot take, but Jay sucks. He should get to die in a season like everyone else has. It's just wrong that he hasn't. Maybe when he does die, it'll be for good. Lol. Lol indeed. I mean, sure, Jay definitely has his haters, right? People don't like him because they find him annoying or maybe a little bit repetitive, what have you. But I'm not sure if he needs to die necessarily. I feel like there are plenty of other characters that should bite the bullet before any of the core ninja do, i.e. Master Wu. But an opinion is an opinion, and in terms of this opinion, I find it to be a pretty spicy one. So yeah, I'd say this is a hot take. Hot take, Ninjago is better than all LEGO fiction and most non-LEGO fiction too. This is kind of a touchy subject because for a lot of people, it's Ninjago or nothing. I've been in this community for a long time, and with Ninjago fans especially, there's a very sensitive subject there regarding Ninjago's quality compared to anything else. I've been in situations where I've said that things are better than Ninjago, and I've been called a lot of things. A fake fan, a poser, what have you. It's a very touchy subject, but I've had the same opinion that I've had for years now. That opinion being that Ninjago is good, and it's certainly my favorite LEGO theme, but other shows exist, other movies exist, other media exists. In the grand scale of media and everything out there, Ninjago is not near the top for me personally. Do I love Ninjago? Most definitely. Is it one of my favorite shows? For sure. Is it the best show ever made? I don't know about that. I'm going to be honest. I don't think it is. But regarding this hot take, I feel like it's very, very valid to call Ninjago your favorite piece of fiction. You're allowed to have Ninjago be your favorite story of all time. I'm just saying, for me, there's a lot of stiff competition out there, and Ninjago ain't winning. I'll tell you that much. Hot take, Zane is extremely boring. I wouldn't care if they broke up at this point. I think Ninjago should focus more on ships that actually have an interesting dynamic. So far, Jaya, that of course being Jay and Nia, is basically the only ship where we have actually seen interactions with the characters all throughout a season. Some other ships usually have literally one scene per season. Not sure if this counts as a separate hot take. I think they should also make Konya official, that of course being Cole and Vanya. If it's not, then it's a bit strange how touchy the two were all throughout Master of the Mountain. I don't think it would make sense for Cole to be with anyone else. I do agree with the portion of this take where they mention how Cole and Vanya should be canon. I think that way too. I like Cole and Vanya together. I like other ships with Cole as well, but Cole and Vanya is probably my favorite Cole ship. But in terms of Zane being boring, I guess it's boring in the sense that they don't really have many problems to deal with. In my opinion, Zane and PIXAL are like the cookie cutter example of the perfect couple. Every couple wants to be them. Sure, it's not realistic. I mean, couples will have problems and quarrels and fights and whatnot. That's just existing in general and being in a relationship, so there's that. But I can see where this comment is coming from by calling them boring. I totally understand. I totally get it. LEGO Ninjago is just a glorified toy commercial that has too many plot holes. Watch Monkey Kid instead. I've actually been watching Monkey Kid quite a bit, or at least trying to. I just got started on season 2 once again, and it's a good show. Do I like Ninjago more? For sure. I think Ninjago does have plot holes, but by default, Monkey Kid would also be a toy commercial. Every show based on toys has the same reason for existing. They exist to sell the toys. Very rarely do you see a major toy line that's based on a show. Usually the toy line comes first, and a show is made to support said toy line. So if Ninjago is just a toy commercial, then by default, Monkey Kid would be as well. You could argue that Monkey Kid has more heart and soul. That'd be totally fine. But I'm not sure if you could argue that Ninjago is a toy commercial when Monkey Kid isn't. In my opinion, they are both toy commercials. Doesn't mean they are bad, of course not. You can be a toy commercial and be ridiculously good, like Ninjago, like Monkey Kid, like a lot of other shows out there that I love, but it doesn't make it any less of a toy commercial. Hope that makes sense. Ninjago should have ended at season 2. No unnecessary continuations, no stupid retcons, but one continuous story that starts and ends exactly how the showrunners intended. From Rebooted onwards, they had to continue a story that had already come to a conclusion, which is why so many dumb retcons are made over the course of the show. I'm looking at you, Tournament Developments. Bonus, the newer seasons not using the Weekend Whip is a crime. I agree with that Weekend Whip take. Not really so much on the Ninjago should have ended at season 2 bit, nor do I agree with the statement made about retconning. I feel like if Ninjago ended at season 2, that would have been fine, but I'm glad Ninjago continued afterwards. I don't lament what we had after season 2. In fact, I really enjoy a lot of awesome seasons like the Tournament of Elements, which just so happens to be my favorite season because of the world building and, funny enough, by default, the retconning. There's nothing wrong with retconning if you're adding more context, which I feel like season 4 definitely did. They added more context to events that we've only heard of prior, or smaller events that in season 4 were revealed to be on a higher scale. I don't think there's anything wrong with that type of retconning. I think that's that's totally fine, but I can see why other Ninjago fans like this commenter right here would see an issue with it. That's totally fine as well. Opinions will be had. I'm just not really sure if I agree with this one, though like I said, the newer season's not using the weekend whip. I agree. Someone should fix that. Now this one's kind of long. I'm not going to read the whole entire thing, but I will be putting it on screen if you guys want to pause and read it. Essentially, their hot take is that Lloyd and Nia is a better ship than Jay and Nia. And of course, they give a bunch of reasons as to why. I would highly recommend you read through this. I personally don't agree with this statement, but I love the passion here. They literally wrote an entire essay about this whole thing, so feel free to pause and read it if you want. Show this commenter some love. They really put a lot into this comment, and while I don't really agree necessarily, I can see the passion here, like I said, so feel free to give it a read. Hot take, Harumi and Lloyd being a couple might not be that bad if she gets a proper redemption in United. I wouldn't mind seeing those two together as long as they get time to redevelop their relationship and time for Harumi to apologize and prove that she's changed. I feel like they could really work if that happened. We'll just have to wait and see. Yes, indeed, we will have to wait and see. There were a lot of hot takes on this post right here for this video that involved Lloyd and Harumi. A lot of people really liked the ship, a lot of people really didn't, and both sides were claiming it to be a hot take. I'm not sure which opinion is the most popular one though. It seems like people are pretty split on this whole thing, but I liked this comment because it pretty much summarized how I feel about the entire thing. I don't feel like Lloyd and Harumi being together is a bad thing necessarily. I just think they need to take their time explaining it. And like I said, this comment was probably the most well-formed Harumi and Lloyd comment that I saw in this comment section. Hot take, I think that Sons of Garmadon is pretty overrated. I enjoy Hunted much more as it had more action and the stakes were much higher than in Sons of Garmadon. I also really liked how the ninja had to find their way out of the first realm. I'm not saying that Sons of Garmadon is a bad season by any means, I just think it's not as good as people say it is. I think that's totally fair. Obviously, Sons of Garmadon is often said to be one of Ninjago's best seasons, and if you disagree with that, that's totally fine. I personally think that Hunted is the weakest of the Oni trilogy in my opinion. I feel like Sons of Garmadon and even March of the Oni are much better than Ninjago Hunted, but I understand that Hunted has its fans out there, and I understand why people love Hunted. I myself like certain parts of Hunted as well. I've been seeing a lot more love for Ninjago Hunted as of late, so I figured I'd include this one. Hot take, Hutchins should have been the quiet one and Harumi should have died instead of Hutchins. Rest in spaghetti, never forgetty. Never forgetty indeed, my friend. So Hutchins being the quiet one, I can see where that would work, but I feel like Harumi being the quiet one was obviously the much better choice. With Hutchins, he was kind of a red herring. We all thought that he was evil, we all thought that he was plotting something, but as it turns out, he wasn't, and he ended up dying 2 episodes in. And I really enjoyed that. Obviously, Harumi becoming the quiet one, that was also pretty predictable, let's be real. But I think it's better than having Hutchins be the quiet one, especially after how much they pushed for him being evil. It'd be kind of weird if the ninja suspected someone was a villain, and they turned out to be right with the first person that they suspected. So I'm not sure if I agree with this one, but I do find it sad that Hutchins died. Rest in peace. Like this comment said, rest in spaghetti. I probably will forgetty. And for this one, this will be our last hot take for this video. I just really liked this one, so I figured I'd include it right at the end here. Not really a hot take, but let's just read it. The 4 ninjas should have unlocked their dragon forms back in season 1. In the episode The Royal Blacksmiths, the ninja performed the moves necessary to get their dragon forms, which is jumping up, kicking back, whipping around, and spitting. So, and the more I thought about it, the more I thought to myself, yeah, didn't they do that in episode 9 when they were dancing on stage? Can you imagine if they danced on stage and then randomly turned into golden dragons and were freaking out because they had no idea what they just did? I think that's pretty funny, just imagining that. But of course, you know, this isn't really a hot take, just some food for thought, I suppose. So with that being said, guys, that'll pretty much wrap it up for my thoughts here. Thank you so much for watching today's video, and thank you everybody who submitted some Ninjago hot takes to that community tab post. Obviously, we could not get through all of them because there were so many comments on that post, and I went through all of them personally, trying to find the ones that I wanted to talk about most of all. All of you guys had very good hot takes, so thank you very much for submitting them, and we will be doing another one of these videos very soon, so there's always next time, don't you worry. Thank you very much for watching today's video. Leave a comment down below discussing which of these takes you agree with, if any, and which ones do you find to be the spiciest or most controversial. Leave our thoughts down below. Hopefully you enjoyed today's video, and with that being said, guys, that'll pretty much wrap it up for my thoughts here. Thank you so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed this one, feel free to like and subscribe, do all that fun stuff, and I will talk to you guys again very soon. Peace.